I woke up feeling like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? I just love that song. Okay, I'm trying to find a way to chat. It doesn't seem to be as simple as it used to be. I've been trying to bring this up on the Kindle. I'm trying the new Kindle. I can chat from a Kindle if I'm on Twitch. Apparently, I can't chat. I can see you, and let's see, wait a second. I can go ahead and log in. Let's turn this off. I don't think it's going to work. I can log in again to YouTube through a browser. When it says sign in, it tries to get me to sign in to Edge, and I don't like Edge. So let's try this. YouTube. And in my channel, live, go to live, Edge. I don't like Edge. So let's try. I can chat in there. Unfortunately, the keyboard is over there also. Like way over there, like on the other desk entirely. Live. Why can't I
It's
chat
alive.
on a Kindle? This is like. You can't use any
can
emotes.
chat
You
there.
can't- Oh, I got. Matter of fact, I could do
The
emotes. Wait
keyboard
a
is
second.
over there also. Like way over there, like on the other desk entirely.
Shh. We don't need extra voices in the background. Now, how do I hit enter? Ah, there. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't give me an alphabet, but then having to sit here and spell out every word to say, "Hi, Meg! How are you?" I'm going to go back to. I'm going to have to make this into a small screen because it's really throwing me off. How do we make it the other way? I want to see my chat. Close it from this side. No, it gets rid of the chat. Damn it. Arga. Okay, great. Welcome to the chat. Yes, thank you. I am aware. Let's go to live chat and what are all these things on here? I'm gonna get rid of that browser. It's just not gonna. Okay. There. I can see you. I can't sign in. It won't let me sign in the right way or something. So instead of frustrating myself, I'm just gonna get to work. We will put away the Kindle for save some power. I'll go plug it in. You know, I have a YouTube survey to fill out for the creator side, and I couldn't really think of anything to talk about, which so I didn't fill out, but I didn't dismiss it completely. I figured I'll come back later after I've used it, and now I know. I have to be able to chat with you guys on another device. Well, here it is Saturday, and we have started the work with the golds, which I was holding off as long as I could. But now I have 2 paintings that need it, so here we go. This time, because of its lightness and the ease in destroying it and sending it flying, I'm holding it under a napkin. Because this napkin is not staticky like so many other things in my environment seem to be. So how are you? You can type, I think. Yeah, you're still on vacation. Well, I'm getting a second vacation. You know, I'm going to New York. Uh-oh. Well, here's the problem. Guess what? I can't read that. Hold on. I'm going to need everybody to write in caps. Eating a big piece of... Oh my God! From the Cheesecake Factory! Yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh, so far so good. Very relaxed. I got 9.5 hours of sleep. I'm trying to get all the restorative sleep that I can right now. And tonight, Mr. Rich and I are going to be looking at things to do in Boston. He is coming in the month of September. I'm meeting him in Boston. We'll be there a couple of days. And then come back down here until the 24th. So he'll be here for 2 weeks. And in the meantime, everything is kind of like I've got a lot of shit to do. So I'm just trying to relax. I need to get my paperwork done for the gallery. I am going to teach a class there when I do my exhibit, so people can watch me in action and at the same time have fun exploring their own creativity under my guidance. So that's exciting. And let's see. I have put into the universe a couple of big wants, desires rather, not wants. He hasn't heard anything back yet. He took the first test. Did I tell you he came across an article saying that they were opening up, there were 18 positions to go to training in Spain for 14 months, come out of it ready to be a co-pilot. So he took part one, and funny how that opportunity came up, huh? He said, it'll be extremely competitive. I said, well, when you say extremely competitive, is it just for the island of Ireland? And he said, yes. I said, then you have a chance. Because how many people in Ireland, do you think, are as passionate about you? Had to spend as many hours as you do flying in a sim. He gets so into all of it, every aspect of it. He's gone. I know, $80,000. Apparently you can't get school loans for it either. But you never know what'll come up. You never know what'll come up. You gotta open yourself up for those miracles. You gotta not lay out a foundation in your future of a failure of something you desire. You don't have to figure out how to get it, just keep going toward it. Things become more evident when you start to get involved with them, you know? It might be blind from the point you're at the moment, but then in an instant, your perspective can be changed by an event, by even just overhearing somebody talking, by stumbling across an article, by being rescued for something. No, he doesn't have anything yet. Oh yeah? Me too. Me too. It's like, don't say no. Don't say no. Give it a chance. So, I think that if we make the mistake of looking at how hard something is, we make it harder because we're expecting it to be harder. But if you expect it, the way to be made for you, because you simply emotionally want it, if you stop saying no before it can even have a chance to magnify itself in your life, then, you know, that's one of the things I wanted to try and get across today. You know, reminders, because we do need the reminders. I mean, I know these things. I know them, and still the mortal side of me gets disrupted, gets distracted. And when I allow myself to get distracted by the world as it currently is in my face, it makes it impossible to focus on the things I want to put into my own future and to be to stay joyful, to make room for things to manifest. So I know things happen before I see them, not because I'm psychic, but because, well, in that way I guess yeah, I'm psychic because I know I am putting things into my future by my current and past thoughts, the emotions, the emotional shit. That is what drives it. So it can feel scary when you realize, oh my God, it's all me. If I am facing something I don't like, it's because of what I put out there. And okay, you don't try and erase it because you can't. Just if you notice that you've contributed to something unpleasant for yourself, then you go, okay, all right, I see that. I am the creator. Now, what was it I did that did that? Ah, okay. You will always find where you started the thought process that created whatever it is you're looking at. You attract, right? So it's not that you have to do something. It's like in the news. You know, you're going to see more of what you're hoping to see, even if what you're seeing is negative in some way. So it's like best not to get involved. Not my world. But like a human, I am like a moth to flame. My attention is sucked right over to stuff that I really don't want to see. And I have to remind myself, okay. But today something really fun happened. I went ahead and clicked on one of those things, a 30-second update kind of a thing. And before it could get a full sentence into that, the screen went black and it started an Abraham Hicks video addressing exactly what I'm just talking about. I started laughing. It's like, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Abraham. I know you're there. I know you're there. Thank you for the reminder. Back to what I'm really wanting. But right now I'm focusing on magicking my trip to New York. I am not... Well, okay, I'm going to put it this way. I need, for my own emotional safety kind of a thing, but this is not trusting the universe. I want more money to go with, but I don't even see how that's going to happen. That's all right. Because I'm not focusing on money, because money itself does not give me satisfaction. Money is just money. It's a tool, right? I don't get off having money. It's like I have money so I can give it away. You know? So I'm not focusing on the money. When I think of going to New York now, I am thinking of all the happy people. I know that sounds counterintuitive when you say going into New York, but New York is actually full of very friendly people. I love New York. And I lived there. And yeah, you know, if you want to focus on the crap, you will see the crap. But I have walked through what other people have referred to as really dangerous neighborhoods. Now, it's true, back in those days, we did not have a proliferation of firearms. Generally, you didn't think of guns except them belonging to police. It was very rare for people in the street to have guns. Yes, we had gangs, and they had knives, and rocks, and fists, and Molotov cocktails if they wanted, but they didn't do guns, and so I didn't think guns. Even after a cop friend of mine used to walk me home at the end of my shift tending bar, which of course is quite late or early in the morning, and he had to walk my way anyway, so we would walk together until I was home, then he'd go off, and then one night after dropping me off, he went around the corner and he got shot in the leg. It's like, what? Someone in my neighborhood had a gun? I walked everywhere with my guitar, not even in a case, so I'd carry it over my shoulder. It wasn't an expensive guitar. It was my early days of learning guitar, and I walked all over the place carrying that sucker. Nobody freaking bothered me, except once, and that guy was a cop. A cop. I had to jump out of the car from a cop. So, there you have it. If you are feeling loving and open and just the best you're not going to run into as much problem as people project. So apparently I've walked through many bad neighborhoods, completely vulnerable and unarmed, and I have never, even the one time when I was a teenager and I was still in school at the time, stopped me with the intention of mugging me, and I recognized him from school, and I called him out on it. So he didn't dare fuck with me for that, but I didn't know that. His friends wanted him to. His friends were urging him to mug me, and I got away, and I was safe, and nothing came of that, and I didn't hear of anybody else on the street being mugged. But that is just another example of when you walk with the universe is walking with you all the time, and you don't have a choice in that at all, because you cannot separate yourself from the universe and yourself, which is awesome. So when we talk about deliberate creation, like, I know I'm going to New York. I know I'm going with very little money, but I know I'm going to be safe. I have a place to stay. I'm not going to starve to death or anything like that. Hell, just the snacks I plan on stuffing in my suitcase will be enough to sustain me if I had to do it that way, but I won't. I am going to have my hot pastrami sandwich. And then I already decided, you know what, it's really hot and muggy. If it's that bad, I might not want something as heavy as a meat sandwich to then go walking around with. But I already packed my camera, extra battery, extra SD card, Toblerone costumes, a paint box, and a little thing. I'm ready to do watercolors, just sketching kinds of watercolors, in Central Park after I have my sandwich, or, I don't know, some fresh fruit if it's that hot. Whatever I do, I expect to have a wonderful time. I'm gonna see a couple of old friends. I'm gonna spend a little time with my brother and his husband, and they are just two of the most awesome people I've ever met. So when I think of having things, or having money, it's not the money. If I had a bunch of money, there are other things that I would want to do. I've already picked out a museum that I want to go to, and I'm going to do what I can to do that. You have to buy advance tickets, but right away. So, since I don't know how close I'm going to be, and I don't know how far everything is when I'm actually walking, I have to wait to see how far I can walk. And yeah, this amazing museum is an addition to the Natural History, the Museum of Natural History. And I haven't been there since I was a kid. But when I saw the building, it's exactly the kind of thing that I would do with my own hands. Oh God, it is, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. And I've got a friend I'm visiting, and he lives right on Central Park South, Billionaire Row. So he's got a balcony on the 23rd floor looking over the park. And in fact, since then they put up these two new buildings to go way up higher. I'm hoping they didn't screw up his view. They shouldn't. They were actually, one of them was being built. The last time I was in the city, I went there to give him a reading. And, excuse me. It was like, oh my God, the construction never ends. And when I saw what was built, it's just, I happened across a video, because I've been, you know, periodically looking at New York City to look at maps and stuff like that. It showed, it's like this real estate one that's showing off the most expensive apartments in New York, and it showed this building, and it looks like 16 stories of nothing but glass on top. It's like, oh my God, that's in the, oh, whoa. I forgot, I think $32 million for that apartment. So yeah, billionaire is right. Because you don't just buy those things, you pay a ton of money every month anyway in maintenance. And for other amenities, like them maintaining the property down below on the ground level, and et cetera, et cetera. Shoveling snow, having a doorman, security. I'm going to Zabar's. Now, Zabar's and Katz's both I have not been to since I was a kid. But my last time just being able to walk around the city, do whatever I want, it was exactly 50 years ago, close to it. I was between 19 and 20, and now I'm between 69 and 70. So, of course it has changed. It has changed so much. But that's what I'm going to see. I want to experience something new. And then when Rich comes in, he's already gotten my train tickets. So I will be getting a ride from a neighbor to this train station and go up to Boston, where he will meet me. And we will have 2 days and 2 nights, and then back here until the 24th. And when he's here, we'll be going to like Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun and Mystic, and just going to places where whatever the weather is dictating, and my back and hips. That's the only bummer, is that I can't bring my walking stick, because I have to have a free hand, and this hand's offline again. I slept on it wrong, and it's been like 2 weeks now of, this clicks into place now, and yeah, I don't know how I slept wrong enough to make everything so close to being back like 5-6 years ago. But yeah, I'm hoping. I've got another week plus I've been doing my little exercises, and that's also what I'm trying to work up here. Excuse me, create the best future I can for myself. It's so exciting. Oh, and you know, I've gotten lots of stuff put in my head to desire, like watching Zumba's desserts on Netflix, all those dessert things where people are making these amazing, oh my God, and what is that? Who's that chocolate god? He's amazing. He had his own Netflix special or Netflix show, at least one season, of teaching people how to work with chocolate on a lathe. I mean, he treats chocolate like it's a block of wood or stone or clay. I love him. Hi, honey. How are you, grandson? Hello, hello, hello. How are ya? I can't type. I can read if you make it all caps. Oh, I'm getting new glasses. And they're the kind that get darker in the light, in the sun. I can't wait. That'll be next week. And I also ordered new hearing aids. I'm getting on with it. I'm good. I was just talking about my planned trip to New York City for a couple of days and then up to Boston for a couple of days next month. So I'm all kinds of psyched. Oh, I was talking about desserts. Watching those dessert shows. Oh, and then the fancy foods. The tasting things where you can go and taste like 16 different things. And so, of course, you just get a little bit of something because, well, 16 things, it doesn't take long to fill you up. Very good. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Did I speak too fast and I don't know what that means? Yes. There's television shows on Netflix on desserts and like on YouTube, all those cooking shows, and you get to try different things. Well, that's when I go to New York City, that's what I want to do. I want to try lots of different things. I want to find some of those food trucks, like the taco trucks. I love tacos. And I want to try different ones. Oh, if I could get some ceviche, that would also make me very, very happy. So yeah, I am very excited. Very, very excited. I'd be jumping up and down, but I don't have that kind of energy today. Oh, and Meg, I picked up some medicine I can take with me, not smokable kind. Same thing, but in pill form. So I can sleep at night and for the daytime deal with pain. That's right. Do not say any words that start with a P when you have something this light around, because it go peeing across the room. I can't say I really noticed anything, but I didn't start with nothing in my system, I think it's going to have to be try on an empty system. I didn't think about it this morning, or I would have tried that instead. I've got my hard head. It takes a lot for me to feel anything because I'm just one of those people. Apparently it doesn't matter how long you've been smoking or not. Or using edibles, butters, and whatever. It's just, my nephew gave me 2 gummies that dinner, that same day that Oinkness was killed. And I had those 2 gummies and I felt good. I thought that was like the perfect dose. He and his fiance were cracking up. They kept looking at me like, when is she gonna look like she's stoned or something? Because they were 30 milligrams each. So I knocked back 60 milligrams of whatever it was, and it's like, I'll take those again. I felt great, slept well, woke up fine. And so I need the higher doses, but the higher the dose, the more money. So I got what I could. I told the pharmacist, I said, take me seriously when I say this. Please take me seriously. I am going to be in serious pain by the end of the day. Serious pain. If you don't give me something to help knock me out, I'm going to be in serious hurt the next day for lack of sleep. So supposedly whatever I got is going to do the trick, and I guess I should at least give that a shot. But because after all, I'm only spending 2 sleeps there, so I don't need that much, whatever it is, even if I have to double it. I don't know. I have to try it. I have discovered it's a real complicated thing to figure it out on your own. The ratios of THC, CBD, CBC. I know that a 1 to 1 ratio is very good for me. I mean, at least so far it was. I got decent pain relief, I got decent sleep, but those were high doses. So I don't know what I have actually. I mean, until I actually take it, I don't know. I think one of them is FDA approved. So, you know what? I have to go look. Hold on a second. Now, my nephew and his fiance were red-eyed on 5 milligrams, and I took 60. So that's why it's like you can't tell. You always have to start slow. Take 1 and see what that does. So this is my night. I could have sworn Indicol. Indicol is that's a regular medication, isn't it? Maybe not. Oh. Well, allergens may contain coconut. Alright, so what I tried last time was the daytime. In the puzzle box. The how do you get this open? I have to hand it to a 4-year-old. When I was, I had a temp job that I actually loved, making plastic beads. And one of the things that I was working on one night was a lot of fun. Hot as hell though. It was injection mold machines. You get used to working with them and they're fun. They're all a little different though. So that night I was doing Teflon rings. They were bracelets. There was a fad for a while where every color in the rainbow bracelets were being sold by, you know, stacks. They were supporting the stacking, right? And they were supposed to be pretty much indestructible. Teflon, I mean, they were made to take a beating, right? And they had people twisting them and trying to break them. Nobody in the factory was able to break these suckers, and we were very impressed. Somehow, though, a teething baby managed to get one and break it. We still to this day don't understand that, but don't underestimate the power of a teething baby. Keep your hands away from their mouths. You might lose a finger. Alright, so this is supposed to be for nighttime, huh? Well, I can't take it right now because a little while ago I just took a standard painkiller. But I'll keep that in mind for later. When this sucker wears off, we'll see. Give it a shot because I haven't touched them, so I've got more than enough for the trip. And again, I will be going up to Boston, so hopefully I'll have leftover for that. Yeah, traveling is rough, but the train is way more comfortable than a bus, and it's really very much like a car. You know, they've got bigger seats, they've got lots of leg room, and actually it's better than a car or driving myself because I can actually get up and move around. So yeah, train is my favorite way of transportation. I know you're in airlines, and I do enjoy flying actually. I just don't like the crowds. The crowds get me. At the airports. After all, I am going into New York City. There's going to be crowds, but I'm going during the week, so a lot of things that are normally going on for fun won't be. But New York, it never sleeps. There's always something to do in New York. So I'll be doing some searching to see what's up in the city. Okay, now we've got to embrace the whole. Oh, we already have this poured. What am I doing? That's why I put this in here. The Toblerina will be photographed, hopefully, weather permitting. And as long as nobody thinks a barefoot is obscene, she will be in the park. Of course, dressed in something. I actually brought or packed a piece of lichen that I collected. I'm gonna make her incognito in the park. Different brush, different brush. She's gonna be squirrel watching or bird watching, dressed as lichen, possibly some wood bark, possibly something I can pick up in the park, but I am bringing everything I need for photographs, not taking any chances. Oh, now something funny has happened, Meg. Now, we're not allowed to create for other people. We can pray for them, and if things work out, we can have wonderful things happen for them, but it all depends on whether they can allow it in. So you can put something up there and say, all right, I would love for this to happen to my friend. She so deserves it. I'm thinking of a friend who, she's ready to fall in love. She's finally ready. She feels like her kids are in a good place. And now, but she's getting ready to move out of the state. Actually, she's getting ready because of her father, and now one of her daughters is down there, and she's in love with a local. They're making their home in Alabama. Now, Alabama's got a lot of really bad, dirty tricks and politics going on right now. I mean, it's just environmentally, it's endangered. It is a bad place to be at the moment. I would not wish anybody to Alabama. But I was so sure, like my friend's daughter, when she fell in love there after all these years of not falling in love with any of the guys that, you know, she's been good friends with, but never fall in love, and this guy she's just mad about. So it's like, But I really don't want to see my friend go down there and end up taking care of her father in his old age. And I mean, she is and all, and she's gonna do what she's gotta do. But the weirdest thing happened. She went to say hello and catch up on a little bit of the news with an old friend who actually, where her ex-husband worked. And my friend is the kind of person who never forgets a good person. And so she always stops and says hello. Well, my friend never ever says anything about meeting another person, falling in love, ever. Especially, she wouldn't normally say anything like this to this particular woman, because this particular woman hired her ex-husband, and that's also the place he used to meet his second wife. He cheated on her. And so this mutual woman, the hirer, she felt horrible. She doesn't like the second wife. She really loved Karen, and she really loves her husband. But Karen never trashes him, and she knows what he is, but she never says a word. And she's never going to demean him in the eyes of someone who cares about him. So she's honorable. She's got that dignity, and that's one of the reasons we're friends. So all of a sudden, she admitted something about finding somebody or being open to that. And this woman, well, you know what? I need to make I'm so glad you said that. I've got a dear friend who I think would be perfect for you, and he likes this, and this, and Karen's going, that ticks the boxes that I have. Those are the things I absolutely want in a future relationship. And I said, Karen, what if this turns out to be the one, and he's up here? And she said, well, I'm just going to go with it, you know. And she's learning to trust her inner being, and that's just so beautiful. Because I know she'll be led to be happy as long as she doesn't try to turn it off, you know, to fit other people's things. But she's been on her own now so long. She's really found herself, you know. She knows things she really wants to do. She's passionate about things again, and she's such a giving person. I just want her to be happy. And she said, well, you know, her daughter is getting married next year. She said, there's be reasons for me to come up here and visit. And if he turns out to be somebody I really want to spend time with, then I will come up more often. That's the bottom line there. So it's like, because I believe that she needs to not live down there, and that I think she has come too far in her own personal development to take a big step backward, which is what that would really represent. Going back around people who believe that she's kind of crazy for not remarrying, kind of crazy being a woman on her own, raising her kids on her own, and, you know, Alabama. So it doesn't matter that she's an awesome human. But she has done things without thinking, and she's an example of how we can have somebody in our lives that we recognize how wonderful they are, even if we completely disagree with them politically, because she voted for Trump. And she did it because her father did. They were always Republican, they always voted that way, and that's just what you do. And I am pretty sure she'll never vote for him again, but it's going to be something that she's got to experience, you know, by being around her family. Wait, I have a message. Playing the horn. PM. Who is that? Of course. I'm certainly not coming in that early in the morning. That's the person who's going to pick me up from the train upon my return. My sister has done a Picasso. I'm not sure about it. Playing the horn. That's pretty cool. Okay. Cool. And okay. Sorry. Oh yes, a reminder, please give my show a thumbs up. It counts apparently, which I find annoying and disturbing a little, but it's part of being here on YouTube. And thank you for subscribing. At least here it doesn't cost anything, which is good because I've got a lot of subscriptions. Okay, so now I've got to let this dry, and because gold is not absorbent, it's going to take a little while. Don't worry, we've got other things to work on. We are redoing, we're up, what do you call it when you're upcycling a pocketbook. Now this was going to be my camera case and carry Toblerone stuff, but then I realized I could not. That was a. What can I say? I say, it's cool, man. A jazz player. Let me give her a heart. My sister is very sensitive, and I love her. And I love her art. That sound apparently is my texts. Okay, and two people are texting me at the same time. Now this is my new crappy phone, and it sucks. It takes forever to load anything, and it's supposed to be better than my last one. Okay, we'll just leave that alone. Back to the purse. Okay, so this purse was falling apart, and it was purchased at Kohl's, and it was on sale, and I got it to have something small and soft that I could carry on and off without problems, my kayak. So I needed something that would reject a little of the water and that I could wear like that so as not to impede, and then also I could throw it around back and lean against it. So that's what this was for. But I don't have my kayak anymore, alas and alack, and that is one thing that can bring tears to my eyes. So I did not want to throw it away, so I started refurbishing the whole thing. I found from the 1980s a piece of tissue paper with these roses, and I thought, how about we decoupage this sucker? And so I have, and now I am making updates on it. It looks like I'm going to end up having to do more black than I intended, but let's go ahead and see what we can do. Still working on the salvage part. Oh, look at that. The faux leather is this layer of material that goes over a fabric with adhesive. The adhesive eventually dries up and turns to dust. When I say dust, I mean dust, like fine sand. So there's no like picking it off and having anything usable underneath it, as you can see here. It's just fabric, and I've already removed most of the dust. But let's continue with this. I thinned out that acrylic paint. It's just a standard Liquitex acrylic. I thinned it out with water because it's from the tube, so it's got a lot of gel medium in it. Oops. Now, I tried being perfect with this, and then I came upon the realization that all of the folds in the fabric, some of them had become more permanent than others. And when I was holding everything where it needed to be so I could paint it smoothly, as soon as I let go of it, it squished back up and got paint where I did not intend. So I'm just gonna be revising it as I go along to get this to look like something. Now, I'm not gonna be using this in New York after all, which is a relief, because it's not perfect, and I don't want anybody to particularly think things about this purse. Not that I care, actually, but it doesn't really go with anything I have. So it's now going to be a rock bag. That when my group of merry rocksters goes into town, yeah, I'm gonna end up doing this whole thing in black, aren't I? Next Saturday, a week from today, I'll be down in the community room at 1 o'clock, and we're gonna make a bunch of happy rocks to hide around town, which is gonna be, for me, a lot of fun. We're calling it, or I say I'm calling it, I'm using these people to fulfill my vision. You know how people are always about this and that, and they act like the sky is freaking falling? Well, my project is bits of heaven falling. So all of the rocks are going to be painted sky blue on the top with little puffy clouds, and on the bottom everybody will be doing their own personal messages of hope and love to share with the community. Then we're going to go downtown and place them all around town for people to come across and take home, or leave for other people, or rehide. So unlike the other rock projects that I've seen people do, I am not asking people to do anything with them. They can do whatever they want, in however they feel. They don't have to post it to Facebook, because I have not made a page for them to post it to, because I don't care. And I'm not going to babysit a Facebook page for rocks. And I'm not asking them to give credit to anybody. We're doing this anonymously, although eventually I know the coffee shop will figure out I'm behind the rocks that are painted like that. Because when I go out, I give them a rock painted like that. So the rest of the town will not know. Maybe the guy at the art studio will figure it out. But in other words, it's anonymous. It's meant to entertain people, uplift people. You know the feeling of coming across a shiny penny when you're just walking down the street. Even if you were gloomy, just seeing a brand new penny on the street. Now, I knew someone who used to get a roll of new pennies regularly, just to leave them for people to find. And I like that idea, and I have done it a couple of times. No, not a whole roll, just a couple of pennies. It does things to people. It really does. If you put a penny, a beautiful shiny penny, right in the middle of a sidewalk and walk away just where you can watch what happens, but act like you don't see it happening. It's hard to resist a brand new shiny penny staring right at you, especially if it's face up, because people get superstitious about it. Face down, no, don't touch it, bad luck. Really? You know what? You could be rich if you just picked up all the pennies you found along the way. Well, it used to be. So, yeah, I like doing things like that. It's those little surprises, you know, it can really brighten up somebody's journey. You see people walking around with scowls on their faces, or I hate seeing old people struggling, and I know the feeling, but I'm not where some of them are already, and it's always been something that just broke my heart. The last years are the hardest. And I thought puberty was hard. Getting used to an old body when your brain and your mind are still like a teenager. I mean, you might not be fast like a teenager, but the body gets older, but you don't. We inside don't age that way because we're immortal. That's why you feel young forever, unless you equate yourself with your body, in which case you will get old. I feel like I will never be old. I know I'm a kid, no matter how many years I have chronologically on this planet. And I kind of delight in that now. Although I've dated guys my age and older, the people I end up spending the most time with are younger than me. And there is a reason for that. I don't have an obsession with youth or anything like that. It's the attitudes. I can't stand a lot of people my age. They are so stuck. And it's not that I hate them or anything like that. It's like I just don't want to spend time with them. All they talk about is what's wrong with the world and what's wrong in their lives and everything that's wrong. And, you know, it's like we've done shows where I've asked everybody, what makes you happy? Can you think of something that makes you happy? Now, if you give yourself a minute, you should be able to start making a long list about the things that make you happy. If you can't, get help. It's serious if you cannot find reasons right now, things that would make you happy, even if they're in your imagination. You know, life is not always in a place where you want it specifically, and we suffer our losses and we grieve, and at those times, yeah, it's hard to feel all excited in good ways. But those times pass if we allow them. And love never dies, so it always comes back. Again, if we allow it. Alright, I must let this dry now, because you know what's going to happen if I mess around with this. Are we off for the camera too much? What the hell? No, that's worse. If you don't see what you want to see, if you gotta say something. I am nearsighted as hell, and I've got a tripod interfering with the scenery. Plus, I'm usually looking down there. When you make a wish for something, anytime, it's not like your wishes are forgotten. If you wish for something as a teenager and now you're in your 20s or 30s and it hasn't come true yet, it doesn't mean it's not waiting for you. It just means that you've not been in the right place to get it, or you've been so focused on it you can't get it because your energy is actually driving it away. You're adding conflict instead of allowing the door to just swing open naturally. Because we have to learn to get out of our own way. And the fastest way is by getting happy about something. Anything you're passionate about. The faster you can turn your attention to something that turns you on, the better. If you are really banging against a wall and you are not able to change your mood, if you can, take a nap, go to sleep, have a drink, smoke some weed, do something. You gotta break that pattern. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, do drugs. I'm saying, considering your age and legality therein, do whatever it takes to break the momentum of your negative vibe. Go out in nature if you can. If it's pouring and you hate the rain, don't go out in nature that moment. But that doesn't prevent you from turning on a funny movie or a song that gets you dancing. the more time you can spend in that state of just being satisfied with what you already have, being joyful about what you are attracting in the future, joyful about the things you want to do. If you can get excited about something, that's what you want to focus on. Don't worry about what's coming. It'll come if you get out of your own way. The universe already heard you. The moment you ask for something, it's given. You just have to be in the right vibrational state and place. It's easier than it seems. It really is. I think one of the biggest reasons we don't spend more time in these heightened states of happiness, gratefulness, is we think we're supposed to be working harder. We think we're supposed to be doing what our parents did. We think we're supposed to be doing things that actually we don't need to all. I'm not saying don't work hard. If that is something that you're getting satisfaction out of, then by all means, do it. Again, it's about doing what makes you feel good. I've always tried to do jobs that I can enjoy, and I found the joy in every job I've had, which sounds bizarre considering some of the jobs I've had. But I found the joy in every one of them, from the very first job of being a waitress. Now, I tell the funny stories about, like the guy who wouldn't stop pinching me and me turning the water glasses over his head. But I also loved helping people. I loved making a table. It was like having people at my house all the time. Just here you go, 8 hours a day. Take your order, bring it to you. The satisfaction of seeing people eat, satisfaction of knowing they're enjoying it, because we made simple food. Come on, we were like a burger place. We were mostly breakfast and lunch, and then we closed. We've serviced the local factories, and they got out at 4. Them going home. So we took care of the first shift. And if there was a second shift, we wouldn't know about it. We closed. It wasn't that I loved it so much that I wanted to stay in it, but I was grateful to have a job because it was hard to get jobs at my age, especially because I trained to go to college. I did not train to work in the real world. I didn't even know how to type. But one thing that my father and my stepmother really stayed on me with was adding, addition, working with numbers, because I'm kind of numerically dyslexic. And they would give me these adding machine tapes, 1.5 feet long, 3 to 6 columns wide, and I had to add them all up correctly. And they would keep me busy for hours just adding up these stupid tapes, which of course she would have the answer to, so yeah. You know what, one day it happened that we were going back and forth because I was right and her adding machine was wrong. Yes, it happens, because when you add enough, apparently you get to a place where fractions add up and you end up with one more than whatever, and I didn't know that was possible, and neither did she. And it was a while before we found out that does happen, but I was right, the machine was wrong, and they made my life hell for the rest of the night because of that. So that's not one of my more pleasant memories, but the fact that I did work so hard on my numbers made being a waitress a lot easier, because we used to add up our own tickets, and when you rang them up on the register, you just rang up exactly what was on the ticket. It didn't do the adding for you unless you had a better machine. So yeah, I just found things to enjoy. You find things to enjoy. That's what, no matter what your job is, you need to look for the bright spots. You're working there. If you have a full-time job, that's 40 hours a week of your life that you are going to be spending doing something. And if that's what you have chosen to do and that's what you're into, that's awesome. But sometimes we take jobs like Waitress wasn't my first choice of jobs, but it was the only thing I could get into as unskilled labor. They didn't have any jobs for people who got on the high school honor roll. That is called college. So now that I am, well, I'm retired, but I have always wanted to go back to work. It's just my physical issues that have kept me from returning to a normal job. I can't count on all parts of me being everywhere, in the same place at the same time. Sometimes something's offline and there's nothing I can do about it for the day. Well, if you're working for somebody else, that's not acceptable. If you make your own hours, that used to get me through when I made soap. But I could not, finally got the point where even though I made amazing soap, I loved it, everybody I know that used it loved it, they always wanted more. So many people were unhappy when I had to give it up. But aside from it costing twice as much now as it did when I was doing it, it requires marketing. And in the beginning, at least, it means getting out there amongst the humans. And I don't have the capacity to do that anymore. The only time I get out among the humans usually is just going to doctors or grocery shopping, and that's it. Zero going out for entertainment, except when my friend is here from Dublin. And that is, like twice a year. So that's why that's one of the big reasons I'm making this trip to New York. It's like, all right, things are not going to get necessarily, you're not going to be younger next year, I'll put it that way. Oh yeah, it is wonderful. I had so much fun and I made some beautiful, beautiful loaves. I found a supplier that sells all the stuff that goes into making makeup, all makeup. So when you get right to the source, the prices are really good. And I discovered a little goes a real long way. I got some, I call it my illusion loaf. It was striking. I used charcoal in clear glycerin and made layers between layers of completely transparent, but using illusion mica, so that when you looked at the loaf of soap in one direction, it looked like black and clear, just suspended I made it triangular, so that they weren't like even layers, they were triangular layers. So it looks like just, you see the black thin layers between the transparent ones. If you look the other way, you saw the colors. It was black and aquamarine, black and green, black and rose. It was just gorgeous. And the black was like a mirror. So I took a picture of it on top of a white scarf that had all the ripples, and all those ripples photographed across the top of, I loved making that soap, and it smelled really good, of course. And it was super gentle on your skin. Detergent-free glycerin, so coconut glycerin. So, yeah, I loved getting inventive, and I got some really high-end molds. People loved my molds. So I have beautiful shapes, very more sophisticated. And also I learned how to paint with mica. So They were dazzling. They're dazzling. Unfortunately, one of the last ones I made went to my ex-husband's girlfriend. Well, I didn't know at the time. But now, yes, it's not just the demand, it's the shipping. The shipping is so expensive. I could afford to go to like, oh God, what's the company? Bayberry soap? I can't remember now. I have to look it up. Really nice. They make amazing blends, and you can buy a bunch of them to turn into your own soaps. And that's what I was going to do. The prices were right. The shipping was more than the price of the soap. I couldn't do that. So I used to pay $43 for 24 pounds of base soap. Just all the basic stuff. And now it's, I think, at least double that. And the thing is, I can easily make your basic scratch soap. It's only 2 ingredients, oil and lye, and you have soap. You add fragrance and color on your own, but if you just want pure soap, you just use the best oil you can possibly use. And that's where palm olive comes from. Palm and olive oils making a soap that's superior for your skin. So if you want to make a really good olive oil soap, you need really good olive oil. And I don't know if you've seen the price of olive oil, but good olive oil is a fortune. The cheap stuff that's blended with, you don't know where the olives came from, that is even expensive. And when you think about turning it into soap, when you start cutting that up into bars, honey, you need that money back. So the problem with it is that it needs like 8 weeks to cure. You got to pour it into your mold and smooth it out and put it somewhere where it can sit without getting dusty for a couple of months, at least 5 weeks. It has to turn into a gel, and then it finally starts hardening, and then it gets to the point where you can slice it and wrap it and still let it finish curing in the wrapper. It costs a lot of time. Also, the molds that can handle whether you use hot or cold method, it still has to sit and set up. The only exception is the melt and pour, which is where I could get the most dazzling effects. You can't, the stuff that you mix starts setting up really fast. That's why you've got limited swirls of color. That's why you don't see them in fancy molds, because again, you pour it in that mold, it's stuck there. It's going to sit in that mold for a couple of months. That means you can't use that mold. And if you paid $35 to make 1 bar of soap, which I have, like I said, I got some really beautiful molds. There's a couple of sculptors that made molds of their sculptures, and it's like, gotta have it. And so I invested in myself, and I'm sorry to say that 99.9% of it is gone. I kept a few things just so I can make samples of soap, and it turns out Karen's daughter wants me to make sunflower soaps for her wedding, and I said, happy to do it. I'll make that my gift to you. They said, oh, well, we're going to buy the molds for you, and we're going to buy all the soap for you. Nothing out of pocket. You just make the soap. That'll be your gift. It's like, I'm in. You say when. So, fortunately, it's a year from this October. So, nothing yet. I didn't realize if you're going to have a traditional wedding, what you've got to go through. Holy moly. No wonder women are pushy. You gotta be. She's already got her wedding gown, and they've already rented the halls, and it's not until a year from this October. A year from this October. And everything is like, Karen had to come up with the money for all the rental stuff. It's like, whoa. No wonder. I could never spend that kind of money unless I was already very wealthy. I think even then I'd have a problem. I think if I was really wealthy and I was going to get married to a wealthy man, or whatever, if I'm wealthy, I don't care. I would do something like maybe get married someplace really cool, that the environment makes us really happy, and then I would use all that extra money to import my friends and family so they could all be with me and my husband to be wherever that is, on an island somewhere. In fact, I think St. Lucia, there's a little island in the Caribbean where you can take a course in chocolate making. They show you from scratch what to do with those little beans. It's like, oh, that was a fun thing to do on a vacation. I'll do it. So that's one of the things that I put in my vortex. Of course, it doesn't look like I'm going to have that in this lifetime, but I'm not dead yet. So that's the kind of thing that I like to do on vacation. So you want to do something different, but feasible for my circumstances, you know? All right. Now, do you know what today is? Today we make our first stripes on the big painting. Now, when I say big, let's face it, that's it. That's what I got for big. Let's get this out of the way. I hope I've made enough room here. Move it back a little more. Not you, water, we need you near. Alright, here we go. Let's get this baby down. It has taken quite some time to build up all the layers of this painting, and it's so shiny, it's hard to show you. It looks amazing in different lights because you can see the purple, which looks kind of bronze underneath here. So this is called Weaving a New Planet, or you can think of it as Weaving a New Earth. We've got our highlights here. We've got our planet coming together with the water and earth, forming the green. So Meg, now that your life is filled with flying, God, that's gotta be so exciting for you now, to be able to travel again. What I'm doing is we're making the symbols and stars. Now in this case, I don't want a large solid sheet because this is representing stars. Excellent. Oh, flexibility is so important. Once you've lost flexibility, you know how important it is. Do you know where you're going after your vacation? Is it lined up that early, or you have to wait until you're actually back logged in for work to find out your next destination? Oh my. Oh, your day's off. I thought you had a week. I guess I think of that as a vacation. Of course, it doesn't make sense. You just started working again recently. You're not actually due for vacation time, right? That's because you work so intensely the rest of the time. Hey, that's nice. Well, for me. Because I am as much of a homebody as I am anything. I would say part of that is a financial issue, but in general, it's got nothing to do with money. I like being home. I like being able to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it, and I'm never bored. I mean, there's always something fun for me to do. Go to Nashville and oh yeah, I'm sorry about Phoenix. Hell, on that I wouldn't even get off the plane. San Francisco is one of those places I always wanted to go and never made it. I haven't made it there yet. See why I am using such a long-haired brush. Maybe to be able to bring that way over. I think we better use the tweezers. I just saw a movie trailer for another UFO alien story. It's interesting that people are persisting in showing them as little bluish gray men, or no sex on them. I think that's intriguing. I liked the aliens from Childhood's End. That was much more freaky. It's a shame so many people were freaked out by that. The author had to write, this is a story. It's not my personal opinion. It's like, yeah, too bad, because it's mine. I think this is great. It's freaking hilarious. He didn't mean it to be funny, but I can't tell you what it is in case you read it, because I recommend reading Childhood's End, but not because of who comes to visit. It's what happens. What's happening now is so much like that. Except we don't have any overlords. There was a scene in that book that will stay with me forever. It was just so poetic, for justice served. Where did it go? Are you still? Oh, you're not well enough. Okay. I'm one of those people that doesn't like bullfighting. I don't care about its history. We now know exactly what it does, and we shouldn't be doing it. And yet people persist, and they defend it because of, culture, machismo. Oh, it's so much fun going to a bullfight. Oh. That changes in this book. It's just so beautiful the way it does. I think Arthur C. Clarke was inspired because as a writer, he was a thoughtful kind of a man. So he paid attention to what was going on in the world. And like all of us, formed his opinion that some things are not right. Of course, when he dared voice his opinion, he almost got his book banned. In fact, it may have been banned in some places. Oh, we don't want to put this kind of thinking in people's heads. Bad, bad. It's beautiful. You would love it. Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. Hope for the world. In a way. Now, I don't see it exactly as Arthur C. Clarke does, especially the ending. I don't see the ending being what he saw. But it was still so many brilliant points made in that book. Small book, early sci-fi, some of the earliest. Okay. We have... I have to do this in stages, of course, because this has to be just right. It's gonna go that way, and it's gonna go that way. Okay. Don't get lost. There you go. Just stuff's flying everywhere. This material is very static. Come here. Look at you, you're a nice chunk. Be careful not to scratch all of this work I did. It took so long to get this done. I lost track of how many layers of acrylic resin I brushed on over the colors to fix them. And also give a depth of layers. So it has more of an effect of an oil painting rather than acrylic. And it looks like I might have to put more of that resin here. We're not going to do that while the gold is out though, because that would be hazardous to its construction. Alright. Come here, you random events. Yeah. How much time will you have in San Francisco? Any? Enough time to go and check out a local restaurant or anything? this up. We got first lines down. Alright, where's the little one? Oh, there it is. See how it did. Ah, yes. Oh, that's right. Oh, yes, right, right. You told me. I'm sorry. I have been trying to keep many stories in my head from many people, but I definitely care about yours more than some of those other people. Alright, I want that to be better. So let's get out a different brush. Yeah. Stay there. Thank you. That stuff is so soft you can't feel it. Oh, yes, it is. It's another adventure, man. Cherish those. Cherish those. definitely get into it. Okay, I gotta let that finish drying. Where do I want to bring this? I think I'm gonna run it right off the canvas. Oh, not there. Not there. I've got to do what I say. Into this, definitely. We're going to be doing all four sides of this canvas in gold instead of a frame. All right. Don't double up on me. When I think of San Francisco, I can't help but think of the old commercials for Rice-A-Roni. Rice-A-Roni, a San Francisco treat. It's like embedded there in childhood. Like Rice-A-Ronis from San Francisco? Wow! All the way from there. They didn't say anything about it being Chinese immigrant influenced. Of course, you figure that out later. Okay, we're gonna add some thickness to this, right? Not there. Crapola. At least this is good for the shine. So that's alright. Uh-oh. You know what this means? It means it's lunchtime. When I start to get clumsy, it's indicative of losing carbs. I need carbs. Actually, I've got some chicken defrosted. I came up with a way to make it in the air fryer. They're so good. I meant to have leftovers from yesterday's chicken, but it was so good, I ate it all. All right, I think. I'm not sure. Yes. Just making sure it's not going where I don't want it. All right, we'll know more later. You need steak. Aloha, Maui. You need steak? Got one. I actually have a little bit of steak in the freezer. I'm not in the mood for it though. The last piece I had was good. I get myself every couple of months I get a steak and I divide it into like 3 or 4 meals. And so I had one and it was good, but it was like just so heavy with this heat. Like I'm more into veg and fruit right now. You came at the end. I'm going, it's lunchtime. I can feel it's lunchtime. I'm getting clumsy with my paintbrush. Because we don't want clumsy with paintbrush. So I'd suggest it's time to eat. So I'll let this stuff dry. The stores and restaurants want money for the steak. Oh, then you're SOL. I only get steak at grocery stores. I do not buy them in restaurants. Also, I don't eat a lot of red meat. It's just when my blood gets hungry for it. If beets are not satisfying, then I will go for a piece of meat. Don't you get an EBT card? Hamburger Helper's not a bad thing, it's just soy. And soy is good for you, so. There are other things you can buy for that same money. You just need to cook more. End of month. The end of month blues. I hear you. Well, you did get your cat, and you got something for your cat. So you do what you got to do, just like the rest of us. Eggs are good protein. I'm afraid so. It's kind of hard to digest if you don't. You know, online, right here on this very YouTube website, I found some I found a recipe I need to try, and it's making ground beef, imitation ground beef, using carrots and seasonings. It's like, you say what? I love carrots. I love cooked carrots. Can't do them raw anymore. But why not? The cat food, he's like a baby horse. Yeah, he's growing. He's not a yearling yet. It takes 2 years to grow a cat. Also 2 years to grow a dog. Although by the first year they're 50. Alright, I've been on for just a few minutes shy of 2 hours. Now that I'm logged into YouTube, hopefully you'll get a message if you're a subscriber. Please remember to click the like button. I hate sounding like a broken record, but we do need those likes. It'll help us in the long run. Eventually, I would like to be able to make money on here in advertising. You know, the YouTube way. If you're forced to watch advertisements or advertisements anyway, I might as well make something off it. Also, it might be able to tailor the advertisements to things that I and you like. No message from YouTube? Are you ring the little bell there? You gotta sign up for that. You know, below the video there's a like and then there's a little bell. You have to click them both. You can try it. I'll be back after lunch. And it should alert you if you have the bell. Because I get alerts from anything I've had that bell. Even if they send 10 things a day. Like the Midas Touch. They've got so many people under that banner. Alright, my cheerful people. Let's try and come up with something to be happy about today. Meg, you and I have that down pat. Doc, let's see what you can do. I'll be back after lunch. Go, eat, walk, see what you're grateful for. Focus on things that make you feel good. If you are not doing that, you've got to question just how good do you want to feel? Is it too good for you? Let us move forward into the future confidently, with smiles